City After Dark. We've got one of my favorite segments tonight. It's called Laughing at Late Night. So please welcome our producer and contributor, David Plummer.
Hey, David. So Davey recaps the best in late night over the past week. So first up is Jimmy Kimmel, and he decided to pull a prank on some kids.
Jimmy loves to pull pranks on kids, and it turns out to be really funny stuff. This one would have probably terrified me. He decided to dress up as a pig in this scene and have kids come up to him, and he would talk to them. So let's just go ahead and take a look at it.
We do not let him know that I can talk, okay? Because if he finds out, he's going to want to keep me forever. Okay? And then I won't be able to come live at your houses with you.
Yeah, it's a good pig. All right, eat your bacon. I'll be right back.
You're ugly!
Excuse me?
The pig said that.
What? Pig said what?
Nothing.
Did you call me ugly?
No.
I'm going to be honest, I've known the pig a lot longer than you, and if he says he didn't talk and he can't talk, then I believe him. Can you talk?
No.
No. Yeah, you just said he can't talk.
That'd be a lot of makeup, but if I were an 8-year-old, I would have been terrified of that. But it would have be funny. You know?
I was just about to say, that was scary.
Exactly.
All right, so Saturday Night Live is back, and you think this is one of the funniest skits they've ever done.
This is one of the funniest things I've seen Saturday Night Live do in a long time. They struggle sometimes, especially their first week of this season, really, they struggled. But they came back really hard. Now, they decided to release the sequel to this movie, The Fault in Our Stars. If you guys remember that movie?
Yeah.
It's about two young people with cancer, very sad film. But they decided to show the sequel to it, so let's take a look.
From the makers of The Fault in Our Stars comes an all-new film about heartbreak and teenage love against the odds.
I know that love is just a shout into the void and that oblivion is inevitable, but I'm sticking with you no matter what kind of cancer you have.
No, I don't have cancer. I have Ebola.
That doesn't even do it justice. It was 2.5 minutes long, and it's very funny.
Okay, so I cheated, and I looked ahead, and I watched this one. I highly recommend that you watch it in its entirety. I was at home by myself, laughing out loud, hysterically. I was like, why am I laughing like this? I was like belly laughing. It was so funny.
I gotta check that out.
You'll love it.
I will.
You totally
All right,
will.
cool.
Okay, well, speaking of Ebola, Jon Stewart had some thoughts on the matter.
Yeah, so Jon sort of took on our media in general for sort of scaring us. All of the headlines, it's Ebola, it's ISIS, it's all these terrible things happening around the world. So we had a little fun with the news media in this one, so let's take a look.
Ebola in America.
The very deadly and contagious virus may have spread.
The global fight against ISIS.
We have a border that is so porous, Ebola or ISIS or Ebola on the backs of ISIS could come through our border.
Ebola on the backs. I got to say, Ebola on the backs of ISIS, it should sound terrifying, but how cute would that be to see ISIS giving Ebola a piggyback ride?
He's one of the masters at taking a very serious subject matter and making it funny and not offending too many people.
Right. All right, what about David Letterman? He had a very special guest.
He did. He had one of my favorites. John Oliver was a guest on David Letterman's show. And, you know, the key to a lot of this is what we forget about is talk shows, there's an art to being a talk show host. And two of the best at it right here, two of the best, most self-deprecating comics working today. So let's take a look.
So those guys in the conference are not eligible to work their way up.
They're eligible to do it.
It just doesn't happen.
Sure, but they might, like me, have physical restraints that prevent them from doing that. All I wanted was to be a professional football player. This is a distant plan B.
Yeah. Plan B. So what's the point now of getting your hopes up of working your way to the Premier League?
This is, you are literally embodying why soccer will never take off in the United States. Because you can talk about it as long as you want. You eventually get to a point of an American going, but what's the point?
I think we can relate to that. You know, we pretend like soccer's on the rise, but we've been saying that for 30 years. So.
Well, and finally, Jimmy Fallon got Jennifer Garner to admit something she's never told anybody.
Yes. So, you know, anybody that's got kids, you always get that fear that somebody's going to call home and say, like, by the way, we've had some lice break out in the classroom. And that's what happened to Jen and her family. So let's take a look.
So they comb this oil. It looks like you put Crisco in your hair, but you smell a little bit like a mixture of, like, sulfur and rosemary. And the first person I see is George Clooney.
Of all people, you got to be kidding me, man.
And I've never met George Clooney, and I was kind of like, he's so handsome. And I walk up to him, I'm chatting with him, just trying to act like it's cool. I chose, you know, whatever.
Grease my hair.
Yeah. And I can see that he smells me. Anyway, people keep asking why, you know, we weren't at George's wedding, and we were both working, but I think he didn't want Lacey there.
I mean, what other reason could there be for not inviting Ben Affleck and Jennifer Garner to your wedding, you know?
Right. She seems so sweet.
She really does. Yeah, she seems like one of the nicer people in Hollywood, as we saw on the junket.
Yeah, you can totally tell it.
All right, Davey, thank you so much for filling us in on that. Thanks for watching Wendy's City After Dark. We'll see you at 11 a.m.